Hey cats, what's happening? Beautiful, beautiful day. Maybe spring has arrived. I don't know. But gosh, it's got to almost be like 70 degrees. I'm actually warm. Didn't even have a jacket on. So one of our friends, Ryan, recently asked me, he said, how do you know what's the right bike for you? You know, he was talking about, he wants to buy a Harley, and he wasn't quite sure, which model he should get. How do you choose the right bike for you? Good topic for discussion, and I appreciate the suggestion, and I'll do my best to answer that for you today. First of all, I think you're going to have to look at finances. What can you afford? I know bikes aren't cheap, especially if you're buying a new one, and probably your best bet is to look for a used one. But you have to find something within your budget. Now, that's not saying either that you're going to go out and buy the cheapest bike you can get. There's some things to take into consideration. When I went to buy this Harley way back in, I think it was probably 98, 99. Originally went to look at a Sportster. And if you've ever sat on the older Sportsters anyways, they're a much higher bike. You have to have, a longer set of legs to keep your feet flat on the ground. And, as I went around and sat on the different models, I found that this Fat Boy was very comfortable. It was quite a bit more expensive though, and then you have to think, boy, the Sportster, I could probably afford the Sportster, but I really like the Fat Boy. Well, when you weigh it all out, it kind of pushes you a little bit over your budget, but I thought, okay, I can probably do this. But at least I know I'm going to get the bike that I want, the bike that fits me. I was reminded back when, this was years ago, and my brother had a Honda 250 dirt bike. And he had brought it over and unloaded it, and we were riding it he was riding it around in the field, and he said, hey, you want to take it for a spin? Well, when I was young man, I used to ride dirt bikes all the time. And I said, yeah, sure, that'd be great. Well, then I came to realize the seat was about this high on that thing. It was all I could do to swing my leg up over the seat. At my age, 65 years old, I finally got my leg over the seat, but to sit on it, I was like on my tiptoes trying to, hold the bike up. And I couldn't get my feet flat on the ground. And and then of course you have to kickstart it. And I'm thinking, good grief, how am I going to kickstart this thing? I can't reach the Kickstarter and still have my other foot on the ground. And my brother, he's a pro at it. He jumps on that thing and just like whop, starts it right up. I'm struggling like crazy. I finally got it started, and I took it for a couple laps around the field. But I realized at my age, those dirt bikes, I better leave that in the past. I'll stick with the road bike. But anyway, so how do you know which bike is going to fit you? Now, first of all, you have to think about what kind of riding you want to do. If you're going to go with a Sportster model, say a Harley Davidson Sportster model, you're not going to be going on long road trips. It might be good for what they call a bar hopper for running around town. But if you have to do a long distance trek, you're going to find that to be a very uncomfortable motorcycle. That's why they call these ones as more of the cruiser class, because you can run down the highway pretty comfortably on these. They got a bigger saddle. The other thing you're going to keep in mind too is on a cruiser, the tires are a little wider and they're going to feel the road a little better. If you're getting a motorcycle that has a narrow tire, as you go down the highway, you know, there's like cracks or grooves in the road, and that tire is going to find those, and you're going to have a little harder time running a straight line than with one that has a wider tire. I found right away once I got the Fat Boy and it had these wider tires on it, it was a huge difference in my ride. Way more comfortable, I felt way more in control, and it was just a much nicer ride all the way around. But I think the first thing you're going to want to do is try out some motorcycles. Sit on them. You know, you can do that by going to a dealership. They'll let you sit on the bikes so long as you don't scratch them up. Watch how you climb on and off the bike. When you do climb on a bike, you know, you're going to always swing your leg over the back. Never try to swing your leg over the front and put a nice scrape on the fuel tank. Just be cautious getting on the bike that you don't scrape it up, and watch that you don't have, you know, keys dangling or something on there that's going to scrape on the fuel tank too. They might not be too happy with that. But they will let you sit on the bikes and try them out and see which one fits you. Maybe if you got shorter legs, you're going to try to find one that has a lower saddle. And maybe if you do find a bike that has a lower saddle, there are lowering kits you can get for them. You know, they'll drop the rear end down a little bit to where it could be comfortable for you if you have shorter legs. Find one that's comfortable for you. Now, as far as power is concerned, I never let that bother me too much because it's all how you control that power. Yeah, you know, you can get a Ninja bike that'll do a wheelie with the twist of a throttle, but you can always also ride it like Grandpa. You don't have to, you know, run it wide open and unleash that high torque. This bike doesn't have the high torque. You know, in the class of speed in motorcycles, I guess you could call this more of a pig. It just, you know, it goes down the road, it accelerates very nicely, but it's not an extremely fast motorcycle. It's not designed to be. If you want speed and you want power, you know, that's something else to consider. Now here's a good versatile bike, and I just talked about these in a previous video, but the adventure bikes. And they've been around for a while, but you know, they're really starting to become a fad now. And they got some really nice adventure bikes out there now. I recently just sat on a Yamaha adventure bike, and I thought, boy, this is a very comfortable motorcycle, and it was super lightweight, and I would have loved to taken it for a spin. Definitely not a cruiser, but they handle the highway very nicely. They handle the road. They also handle off-road very well. Now, if you have little experience in riding a motorcycle, riding off-road is the best way to learn. The dirt is very forgiving. Even if you know, tip on the grass in the yard or in the field, you're not going to mess your bike all up like you would if you dumped it in a parking lot on asphalt or gravel. Usually you can wipe the mud off and you're okay. Pull the grass out of your shift lever, you know. Been there, done that. Learning in the dirt is the best way to learn how to ride because you've got a little bit of everything. You've got that you can, you know, learn how to slip and slide through the mud. You can learn how to ride on uneven pavement, perhaps even loose gravel, things like that you can pick up by riding off-road, and really helps you when you get on the road to be a better rider. Now, when I first started riding, I had my Yamaha 175 Enduro, which was on or off-road bike. Very light bike, very versatile bike, and it was real easy for me to learn on. And I did a lot of off-road riding, and that taught me a lot about how to handle a motorcycle. When I got on this bigger bike, it wasn't even an issue. I had no fear of it, and really, you know, you shouldn't either. I mean, some people are intimidated by size and weight. The main thing is going to be keeping your center of gravity. On this motorcycle right here, It's 800 pounds. As long as I keep it up, keep my feet flat on the ground, I can hold it very easily. I mean, I can let go of the handlebars and just hold it with my legs, and it's not going anywhere. The problem is when you start to tip it, and I'm not talking about cornering or anything. I mean, when you're at a stoplight or something like that, when you start leaning it over and you get past that center of gravity, it starts getting heavier and heavier. And the farther over you go, the heavier it gets. And once it's laying on its side, this bike alone can be a challenge to get back up on the wheels. There is a way to do that. You can watch videos on that. I'm not going to explain that right now. There's some tricks to it. You put your rear end against the seat. When it's laying on its side, you grab hold of the handlebar and you just push up with your back, and it comes right up. Not easy, but it comes back up. You use your legs more than anything to muscle it back up again. And the bigger the bike, the heavier the bike's going to be. So, but as long as you keep it up on the two wheels and keep that center of gravity, you're fine. And then it's just a matter of, once you get rolling, it doesn't matter if it's a full dresser, a cruiser, or a dirt bike. It's like riding a bicycle. It's going to go down the road and handle just fine. I wouldn't recommend running out there and buying a Ultra if you don't have any experience in riding, though. I definitely wouldn't recommend that. But there are some models that would be perfect for you. Like I said, I wouldn't worry too much about power or mediocre size. A bike like this, I've taught a couple different people how to ride a motorcycle on this one that didn't have any experience in riding. We were out in the field one day and I said, climb on and I'll show you how to ride it. And I said, just think that you're riding a big fat bicycle. And off they went, and nobody dropped it either. It was pretty cool. Anyway, those are my tips for you. If you're looking at, what kind of motorcycle should I buy? Think about what you can afford. And if you can, maybe push the envelope a little bit on that. Maybe you can get something a little bit better. Because if you buy something that's going to be too small for you, something that's going to be too uncomfortable for you, and say you're financing it down the road, you're not going to be happy. And once you finance something, it isn't like you just turn around and sell it again. And I guess you could, but it's a big hassle. And the depreciation goes down very quick. So you're never going to get your money back. So think about what you're buying first. Make sure you're buying what you want. Make sure it's the motorcycle that fits you. Not just physically, but your style, your personality. Maybe you're a millennial that likes the new sport look. Maybe you like all the racing leathers and the full face helmet, and you want a bike that shows that speed, and so think about what you want. Maybe you like the classic Harley and the leathers and just taking a trip and going across country or something on a cruiser. Keep that in mind, that you're going to want something that's going to be comfortable to ride on. Well, those are some of my tips today. Maybe I missed a few. I'm sure some of you always have to come up with things that I missed, and that's fine. Just leave them in the comments down below. If you've got ideas for videos, I appreciate that too. Let me know what you want me to talk about, and I will be glad to work that into a discussion one day. Thanks for joining us today in the Man Cave. Love to have you guys along. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the videos and give us a thumbs up. Hit that notification bell and you'll be notified each time a new video comes up. I do a video every Thursday and every Sunday at 8 p.m., God willing. Till next time, cats, ride hard and die free.